Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. If I am wearing the same outfit and look the same as my reading wrap-up video that just went up a couple of days ago, it's because I'm filming it on the same day, surprise. I thought that it would be fun to do instead of like I feel like you guys already know what my favorite books of the year are because I talk about them all the time, especially if you follow me on TikTok. I personally think that a lot of my content sometimes is repetitive, but I forget not everybody watches the same thing. So when it comes to filming YouTube videos, I'm like, but haven't I already done this on TikTok or on Instagram? And then I remember that not everyone follows me everywhere. So it's repetitive to me, and then it might be repetitive to some of you guys who will already know my thoughts and opinions, but I thought whether you know what my opinions and thoughts are, this might be quite a fun video to do together. And we're going to be tier ranking all of my reads of 2024. Now, I read 250 books in 2024, which is a large amount of books. It's a combination of books, series, novellas, young adult, fantasy, romance, dark romantasy. So we're not sitting here for 4 hours and going through 250 individual books. I am going to do them by book series. So we're going to tier rank the books, you know, individual and standalone books that I have read, but the ones where I've read like full series, we're just going to be ranking the series overall. And I think total that gives us 111 books to go through rather than 250. So still a lot of books to go. This is also not going to be done based on like, if I rated it 1 star, it will go on the bottom. If I rated it 5 stars, it will go at the top. I have picked tier rank vibes, and we're going to be ranking based on my vibes and the way that I feel about the books, because 5 stars is a feeling. That's why we're wearing our 5 stars is a feeling jumper today. This is part of my book merch. The collection is ending in January. By the time you're watching this, you have very short amount of time left to shop the collection if you want one of these jumpers or t-shirts or one of my absolutely feral book reader versions. So if you don't have your merch yet, pause this video, head over to Embroideries, place your order, and then come back. Okay, we all ready to go? Okay, so this is the screen that we're working with. These are the tiers. So starting at the bottom, we have I should have DNF'd. So these are the books that I read, but I honestly should have DNF'd because we know I'm incapable of DNFing a book. Then we have Not For Me. It wasn't necessarily like really bad, but it just wasn't my vibe. It wasn't my thing. 2024 was the year of reading a variety of books and trying to figure out what genres and niches that I liked to read. Some of them are good and loved by other people, just personally not my cup of tea. You were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. These were books that were maybe hyped up or I had high expectations for, and they were good, but they were maybe a bit underwhelming, weren't my favorite. I don't know if I would go out of my way to recommend them. It was cute, just wasn't like a fave. I'm not super obsessed with that. I probably would recommend it. It was cute. It was a fun time. I love it. I love this book. This is maybe a 4 or a 5 star read. Books that I love, books that I will recommend, books that I will yap about all the time. And then at the top is like 6 star god tier. Not to be dramatic, but it changed my life. And I feel like all of the books could fit into these. So why don't we just get started straight away? I've imported all my books into the tier maker, and we're just going to go through them all. They're not in order of reading or ratings or anything like that. It's all just random. So I think I'm going to go I love it, because you know what? I love SJM. I love her worlds. I love her writing. Was the last book a little bit underwhelming that we got? Yeah, but I still love it. I really enjoyed book 1 and I really enjoyed book 2. It's sort of just book 3 was a bit meh, but still I would say a 4 star series for me. I do love it. So I love Rundanen, to be specific, and Lydia. I love Lydia. I also have a matching tattoo with Bryce, so it has to go on. I love it. Another SJM book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. Not to be dramatic, but it changed my life, because it did. We all know that was the book that got me into reading. I wouldn't have my channel right now making these videos sat here with you today if it wasn't for this book. It literally did change my life. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. You know what? You were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. I really loved The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but I did not really like The Ashes and the Star-Cursed Kingdom. That was when I started to feel like I was experiencing my first reading slump, because I was like, it should be really, really good, but it's not. And this is also one of the series where I haven't included the novella 6 Scorched Roses, because this deserves to go in I love it. This is not being included with the duet, the Night 1 duet. I also haven't picked up the next book in the series because I have heard that it was underwhelming for people who loved the book. They are disappointed with the new release and the next duet that's coming out. So I'm kind of like, well, I didn't really like the first one to begin with. Like, it was good, but I was waiting for it to be like 5 stars or really high. I'd say the first year it was a 4-star for me, but the more that I've thought on it, the less that I think about it or care for it. I think I've read a lot of other better books. That's also another thing we're going to reflect on here, is my initial ratings and then do I still feel the same? Have I thought about it a lot? And I think that one is one I'd probably bump down to maybe like a 3.5-star series. The Cruel Prince. We saw it coming. We know The Cruel Prince is not for me. I read it, I read the whole trilogy. Whenever I say I didn't like The Cruel Prince, people say, oh, but you need to read the other books. I did. And I read the novella. It's just not for me. I think that the writing, I don't know, it's quite juvenile. I know it's a YA book, but I feel like maybe if I was like 13, I would have loved it. But it was underwhelming. It just was not for me personally. But that whole subgenre of cozy fantasy, fairy, wonderland worlds is not my thing. So that's why it's not in I should have DNF, because when I read the book, I gave it a 3-star series. I'd say it's probably a 2-star for me now. Like looking back, I think I just didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I can recognize and understand and respect that it is a highly respected series and well-loved series, just not for me personally. That's literally at the end of the day. It's not my thing. Red Queen. I think we're gonna go, you were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. I think Red Queen paved the way for many books in this fantasy romance or fantasy subgenre. I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off with the fact that I prefer Powerless to Red Queen, because Red Queen was an inspiration for Powerless. Red Queen is definitely more of a fantasy with like a minor subplot of romance, whereas Powerless is a romance set in a fantasy world. If you strip back the general summary of the plot, yeah, they're similar, but actually reading them, they were completely different reads to me. When I was reading Red Queen, I was not like, oh, this is giving Powerless. I could see where inspiration was taken from, but the same when I was reading Powerless, I was like, this is nothing like Red Queen. Like, they're not the same. There's just elements and inspiration, but I think Red Queen has inspired a whole subgenre of fantasy and fantasy romance by being one of the first to use these tropes or these ideas, but it's also very popular now in the genre itself. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. Dark Fae. I wanna go with it was cute because I loved book 1. Book 1 would be an I love it, which is Dark Fae. But the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac overall, maybe I bump it down to you were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. Yeah, because like Dark Fae carried the series, book 1, sort of lost me towards the end. I also had no idea that it was going to be reverse harem. I think it was like the first reverse harem book I read. I was shocked, you know, when the reveals were happening. I was like, hang on a second, is this even legal? I was so confused. Now I know. Caraval. It was cute, but it could also be you were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. No, I think we'll put it in it was cute, because it was cute. And I have the books and I read them and I enjoyed them, but I prefer Once Upon a Broken Heart like 1,000 times over. I don't think Caraval is as good. But it was a cute book and I would recommend it if you're looking for like a fun YA, whimsical, magical, mysterious fairy tale fantasy read. Fourth Wing. I love it. Sue me. Iron Flame was good, but I was waiting for it to be great. But Fourth Wing was great. Fourth Wing carries. I just love a dragon romantasy. I don't care if it's a BookTok favorite. I think big popular hype books have hype for a reason. What Lies Beyond the Veil, I should have DNF'd. This was not good. No plot. If you like spicy books and smut, that is all good for you, but I was very disappointed because the first like 20 pages of the book had me. I was really interested in the plot and the premise, and then when I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is not good and nothing is happening. And I tried to read book 2. That is another one I should have just DNF'd. I tried, and that was even somehow worse than book 1, and I have DNF'd the series. I'm not continuing it. You could not pay me enough money to read it. Actually, you could pay me £1 million to read it, but other than that, no. Divine Rivals, it was cute. I think of it less than I thought I would. It's lower down on my rating again because it is more like cozier fantasy. Yeah, I think it was cute. The Mad King and the False Queen, I love it. It was supposed to be a duology. Book 2 came out and it's being turned into a trilogy now just because the authors felt like they needed to add more to the story and couldn't wrap it up in book 2. I have book 2 downloaded on my Kindle, but I've not read it yet, but book 1 was a 5-star read for me. I thought it was very fun. I had a really, really fun time reading it. It's a YA fantasy romance with 2 main female characters split in 2 different parts of the world and their own sort of storylines and love stories and subplots going on. I really, really enjoyed this one. Nectar of the Wicked. I don't know where to put this one. You were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. I think just the book 2 was more interesting than book 1 for me, the duology, but again, not my favorite. The Winter Garden, not for me. This was a book that I just randomly picked up at Waterstones, and I've learnt my lesson to not do that again. Like, there was a lot of quotes and stuff that was happening, but it was like magical realism, and it was weird, and it got quite dark, and it just wasn't for me. Heir of Broken Fate and Heir of Broken Kingdom, I love it. 4.5 stars. I think if you like ACOTAR and you want like found family with the human going into a fae world and romantasy, it's a fun read. Daughter of No Worlds. This is also going to piss some people off. You're good, but I was waiting for you to be great. I really enjoyed the first 50% of book 1, and then when it switches, if you've read the books, you know what I'm talking about. It lost me. I did not like it at all. I did not like the change of the direction or what was happening. It felt like a completely different story, and that was very disappointing for me. So I soft DNF'd it, and I haven't continued, and I don't know if I will. I have a love-hate relationship with Carissa Broadbent books. Bride by Ali Hazelwood. It was cute. It was my first Ali Hazelwood book and her first paranormal romance, and it's definitely a romance following a typical Ali Hazelwood romance formula, but set between a werewolf and a vampire. It's not like a big fantasy book or anything like that. It was cute, and I would recommend it. Quicksilver. I love it because I did love it, and everyone and their mother loved it. It was one of the books of the year. Spark of the Everflame. I love it. I do love it. I love Spark of the Everflame. I am still desperate for book 4. The further we go away from not having a release date for book 4, the more nervous I get, because I'm like, what if it doesn't live up to the hype that I have created in my head around my love for this series? I hope it's one that when the book comes out, I just am immersed back in the world and remember why I love it, and it reminds me. But the ending of book series always makes me nervous because I never really like the last book in a series. I'm typically disappointed with how they end. I think it's a big thing to do, and there's always such a high standard. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. You know what, it's going on not to be dramatic, but it changed my life because it was my first Abby Jimenez read, and Abby Jimenez is a 5-star author for me, and I loved that book. I fell into it and was so pleasantly surprised, and I do think about that story like every day. A Liar's Twisted Tongue. I should have DNF'd. I think that was the worst book I read all year. If you're gonna take any piece of advice or recommendation from me, I just would say don't bother with that one. Darkmoor Penitentiary. You were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. Again, another reverse harem set in the world of Solaria. I don't know why the both prequel and spin-off series for Zodiac Academy were both like why choose when the Zodiac Academy isn't. I was very disappointed with the way that the series ended. It just felt like it was really short and wrapping up for the sake of wrapping up. I don't feel like the ending gave the characters or the story did it any justice. Twin Crowns was cute. Younger YA though. I feel like if you're like 13 to 15, not even that, maybe like 15 and below, it would be cute. I would have ate this up when I was 10 years old. I think it's a very sweet story. Younger YA, but a cute story with dual point of view following 2 twins. Kingdom of the Wicked. I did enjoy. It was cute. It was fun. Book 1 though kind of read more like a YA, and then books 2 and 3 were spicy and adult, and the jump was like 0 to 100. I remember that like caught me off guard, but I had a fun time reading it, and I do like her writing. Happy Place was a 5-star read for me. I love it, but I also don't think I could read it again anytime soon because it was very upsetting of a read. I cried so much. It just hit me. It was like one of those books where when you read it at a certain time and it like alters your brain chemistry. Full of Ruin and Wrath. I love it. I did. I rated it 4.5 stars. At the time when I read it, I preferred it to the Blood and Ash series. I thought it was a really fun read. It felt edited. It felt more concise. It was like the best of her writing. The Book of Azrael. Oh, I love the Book of Azrael. It is a god tier book series. I'm gonna put it in I love it for now. Yeah, we'll put it in I love it for now, and then we'll think on it. Because it is a god tier series, but I don't think it changed my life. But I love it so much. Shatter Me, I love it. What's that quote where it's like, and in the same moment, Haida pulled a machete from somewhere inside the bloodied chainmail he's wearing under his coat and tosses it to Warner, who drops the machine gun and catches the blade by the hilt without even looking. A fucking machete. Love that series. These Fates That Bind Us. You were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. Because I read it and it was like a 2.5 star read. I wouldn't say it's not for me because it was like an urban fantasy, but I'm not going to continue the series. Feybound should have DNF'd. Very underwhelming read. It was very much like I'm just going to tell you what's happening and I'm not going to show you anything. And I realized reading that, I was like, no, I want to see what's happening. I want you to show me. A Fate Inked in Blood. It was really good. I rated it 4 stars. But the further I've gotten from that read, the more I'm like, actually it wasn't that great. Like, it was good, but I wanted it to be better. I wanted to be a bit more obsessed with it or to think about it more. And I don't know if I'll be rushing to pick up book 2 when it comes out in 2025. Zodiac Academy. Not to be dramatic, but it changed my life. It literally did. I have so much love for the characters and the story and this world. Absolutely adore it. 6-star god tier status. Love you, Zodiac Academy. Love you, Twisted Sisters. This is your best work. Throne of Glass. Aelin Galathinius. I love this series so much. I think Throne of Glass is the series that I think of the most. Like, ACOTAR's what got me into reading, but Throne of Glass changed my brain chemistry. It altered something in my DNA. It lives in my bloodstream. I think about this book every single day. A Deal with the Elf King. It was cute. I haven't read any others in this series. It's an interconnected standalone of like a bunch of romances set in the same world but following different characters, and I think it's another one that's quite formulaic. Can be repetitive if you read them all back to back, but if you read them in between reads or if you're looking for fantasy romance standalones, it's a good one. Beach read. I'm gonna go it was cute because it was cute. It's probably one of my least favorite Emily Henry reads. It's still like a 4-star. I'd recommend other books over it of hers, and I don't think about it that much. The Stars Are Dying. I probably should have just DNF'd this one. This was giving Blood and Ash meets The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but very confusing, and The Hunger Games. Like, it was trying to do too many things at once, and I consistently was getting confused and having to go back and read other pages and try and wrap my head around what was happening because it was just confusing. A Dawn of Onyx. You were good, but I was waiting for you to be great. I wasn't like obsessed when I finished it, but it was a fun fantasy romance read. Tammy is actually reading the whole trilogy or series, the 3 books that are out, and absolutely eating it up. 5-star reads for her, and I love that. I love that we can all have completely different thoughts and opinions and experiences when reading a book. I also think when you read a book and the time that you read a book at has a big impact and influence on how it's going to affect you. The Feared and the Forgotten. You were good, but I was waiting for you to be great. It is a grim dark fantasy book, and I did cry a lot. If you don't like animal abuse, they were dragons, so they're not even real, like fictional. It might be a little bit of a tougher read, but the ending, I was so disappointed with the ending of this one. The ending, if this is one of the first times I've ever read a book where I've gone, that ending actually makes me not want to continue with the series, because why? Why would you do that? Avalon Tower. I'm actually gonna put it in I love it because I think about it way more than I thought I would. Like, for just like a fun little giggly fantasy romance, I think about this book when I'm in the shower. I think about it when I'm doing my grocery shopping. Like, I'll be randomly doing something and thinking, oh my God, I can't wait for book 3. That's when you know that like you're kind of hooked into a book. I just thought it was fun. Sorcery of Thorns. You were good, but I was waiting for you to be great. And I did enjoy it. I thought it was a cute read, but again, cozy fantasy. Trial of the Sun Queen, I've only read books 1 and 2, and it was cute. I would recommend it, but it's also not like, I'm not obsessed with it. I don't think about it regularly. I'm not like rushing to pick up books 3 and 4, even though book 3 is on my TBR for January, and I need to do that. But it's not one I'm like, oh yeah, like I would recommend it if you're looking for a specific certain adult Bachelor Hunger Games vibe. Like, the premise of the plot is really fun, but it's just not a fave. The Veiled Kingdom. After book 2, it just confirms I should have DNF'd this series. I probably will read book 3 when it comes out, but I have so many thoughts about this series. I regularly say she should have just made the whole trilogy 1 book, because 200 pages for a fantasy romance is not enough. Book 2, nothing happened. No one thought the ending of book 2 was actually the ending of the book. It felt like it was just a middle of a chapter. It was very bizarre. Love and Other Words. I'm actually gonna put it in not for me. I rated it 4-star when I read it. I think it was beautifully written. I think it was an emotional story, but the more that I've thought about it since finishing it, the more nauseous it makes me feel with what the conflict or the plot twist or what happened. It just made me feel unwell, and it's a very, very emotional read. I just think it was too much for me personally, like not my thing. I think reading this book will break your heart and then put it back together again, but I think it's too much for me. I just don't think it's for me personally, but that doesn't mean that it's not a good book. Magnolia Parks, I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love the Daisy Hates books in particular. I am a Julian girly. I cried so much reading and finishing the Magnolia books, and I'm very, 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 very nervous for the future Daisy books to come, because we still have 2 more to come. Also low-key annoyed that Jessa is writing other books, and we literally are in the middle of the Daisy Hates books and she can't write that and wrap it up. Like, come on girl, give us what we want. Like, finish the series and then let's move on. Red Rising, it feels weird putting it in It Was Cute, but it was a 4-star. It was good. I'm going to continue the series. I've just been waiting to be in like a sci-fi fantasy mood for it. I Caught This Cruel and Lovely. It was also cute. I think I would have put it in I Love It if we had a different ending for book 4, but I do recommend this one a lot and I do really enjoy it. And I think if you like fae fantasy books, it's a fun one to sort of binge. From Blood and Ash, I love it. I love Blood and Ash. Not for everyone, but it's definitely for me. Not in Love. It was cute. I thought it would be way worse based on what everyone was saying about it. When the Moon Hatched, it was good, but I'm waiting for it to be great. It was like a 3-star read for me. I was honestly just really confused most of the time while I was reading it. And I wanted more dragons. The Witch Collector, I'm gonna say the same. I really loved the first half of the book, but the second half sort of put me off a bit. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was, but after I finished the book, I wasn't like, I need to go and read the rest of the series or continue it. It's probably maybe a series that I'll pick up again in this new year, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Once Upon a Broken Heart. I love it. We love you, Once Upon a Broken Heart. I love Stephanie Garber. I love these books. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Not for me or DNF. I want to go DNF. I should have DNF'd. It was not for me, and I kind of wish I didn't read it. One Dark Window, I love it. Showed me that I love gothic romantasy and fantasy. Rachel Gillig became an auto-buy author for me because I love the way she writes, so I'm very excited for her new release in 2025. A Touch of Golden Madness. I love it. 5-star series. Prequel is also 5 stars. Let's also put the prequel next to it because that feels right. I love the series, a 5-star series. Post-apocalyptic fantasy. I love the magic system in it. Very fun. Belladonna. It was cute. I really like it. I still need to read Wisteria, and I think I'll be reading that in January this month. I've heard good things about that because a lot of people have said that the 3rd and final book is their favourite out of it all, so I'm very interested to read about this new sort of character dynamic and shift in the storyline and where it's going to go, but I always have a fun time with her books. The Bargainer series, I wanted it to be better. I did. I don't think that there was any need for the character to be 16 years old to begin with. She could have been 18 and that wouldn't have changed anything in the plot. Honestly, yeah, I felt a bit iffy with that. Not my favorite. Dropped the series down. It's a dark romantasy, and if you like darker romantasy things, you can read it, but I think there are better books out there. The Foxglove King. It's also going to be one where you were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I honestly don't really think about it too much after finishing it, and I don't know if I will continue the series. I feel like there are other books that are more of a priority that I'm more interested in reading. Vicious was cute. I enjoyed reading it. It was fun. I would recommend it. I'm just not rushing to pick up the second book because I feel like it ended quite neatly. I don't know why we needed to have a book 2. I could have just left it with book 1. Slaying the Vampire Conqueror is going to go in You Were Cute because I do think I preferred it to the Nightborn Duet. Daydream by Hannah Grace though, not to be dramatic, but it changed my life. It did. I've never felt so seen as a neurodivergent girly before with Hallie and Henry. I love that story, and a piece of it will live on my heart forever. Bonded by Thorns. We're gonna go It Was Cute because it's a series I'm continuing, and I do prefer it to some of the ones in You Were Good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. But the average rating for the books in the series for me is like a 3-star, so maybe it should be in You Were Good, but we'll leave it there. Powerless is going in I Love It. I'm a Powerless stan, what can I say? Throne of the Fallen is cute. It wasn't 5 stars, but it was in the 4s. This Woven Kingdom I love it. It's one of my favorite YA book series. I love the way she writes. I actually prefer it Shatter Me. And if there's one book that I want everyone to read, it's that one. It's so giggly fun. The Prison Healer, You Were Good But I'm Waiting for You to Be Great. Another one where I was sort of fell flat for me with the hype. It wasn't a favorite. It was honestly quite repetitive and nothing really happened for so many chapters. Phantasma, I love it. I can't wait for the next one. Petals for Vicious Secrets, not for me. Love Theoretically, I love it. I think that's my favorite Ali Hazelwood book so far. We have Love on the Brain, and that is going to be You Were Good But I'm Waiting for You to Be Great, because what was that ending? Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Wild Love, I love it. I do love it. I love Elsie Silver. The Rose Hill series is up there for me. Just for the Summer, I also love it. I love Abby Jimenez, 5 stars. A Shadow in the Ember, we all know where this one is gonna go. Not to be dramatic, but it changed my life. Better Than the Movies is my favorite YA romance. I've not read that many, but it's my favorite one that I've read out of them all. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I honestly think that it changed my life because I think about Charlie and Nora every single day. I love them together. I love them individually. I love their story. That's the Emily Henry book that I will reread. Never Keep. I love Never Keep. I can't wait for book 2. And the more that I sit on this book and think about it, the more that I love it. And I think it could be up there with Zodiac Academy. I think it's my second favorite series of theirs that I've read, and I've read 4. The Dagger and the Flame, it was cute for a YA fantasy romance. Slaying the Shifter Prince, it was cute. It was also funny and dark and weird, and he has a tail. A Kiss of Iron though, I love it. I love this series. I'm reading book 3 this month as part of my TBR because the trilogy has just recently been completed. Book 3 came out on the 31st of December. I'm not really ready for the story to end, but I'm excited to pick it back up and be with Kat and Bastian again because I love it. I love fae fantasy romance books. Summer in the City, it was cute. I had a really fun time reading it. I would recommend it. It's going to be coming out this year, and if you like New York City rom-coms and 2000s movies vibes and billionaire romance, this is a fun one. Anathema, not for me. I had higher expectations of a Carrie Lake book, but it's the only Carrie Lake book I've read, and I've heard that her other ones are very different. So I will be reading Nocticadia this year, but this one, it just was not for me. Loath to Love You were Ali Hazelwood novellas, and I thought that it was cute. It did its job. Six of Crows, it was cute. I get the hype, I can see it, but I don't personally feel it. I wish I was more obsessed with it the same way that everyone else around me seems to be obsessed with it, because I'm just not. But I get it. I can see why so many people love it, and I do think it was good. I think book 2 carried though. I did prefer book 2 to book 1. Light Lark, I'm gonna put it in I love it. Skyshade, I still don't really know how I feel about it. I think Skyshade is definitely my least favorite read, but Light Lark and Nightbane carry for me. So I am intrigued to see how the next book that's going to be released this year, because there's 2 books coming, but I don't think they're going to be actually like 2 books. I think it will probably be like a novella or bonus story and the next book, but we'll see. I need to read the whole series before figuring out how much I love it and my thoughts, but interesting, that one. I just love triangles when they get this far in. Pick someone, anyone please at this point, because it's just going round and round and round in circles and everyone's getting their feelings hurt. Done and Dusted, I love it. Done and Dusted is my least favorite. Swift and Saddled was okay, but Lost and Lassoed, 5 stars. Fun, interconnected, short, standalone series, Chestnut Spring vibes. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, I love it. It was 5 stars. It's coming out next year. Pre-order it. It is her darkest emotional one. Like, there are points in the book where you're sitting there thinking there is no way that they're going to be able to resolve this. Like, how do we move forward from this? It was emotional, it was sad, it's check the trigger warnings. I cried, but the couple in it I adore. The Mindfuck series, not to be dramatic, but it changed my life. I love that. Lana Myers, I think about this book series every day. It's 5 novellas compiled into like one big book, so each story, if you download them on Kindle Unlimited and read them, they're like 100 pages each. It's so good. The Crimson Moth, I loved it. I loved the duology. A very fun time. A City of Flames, You Were Good wasn't my fave. Verity. I'm just gonna go and put it in not for me because I haven't rated this book. I don't know how to. I don't know what I'm feeling or thinking about it, and I don't even want to think about it. I just want to put it to the side and move on from it. Riftborn, I love it. Metal Slinger, I also love it. We Hunt the Flame, I'm gonna say You Were Good, but I'm waiting for you to be great because I feel like I've read so many books that are very similar and I wasn't really that interested or didn't really care too much about any of the characters. So when we got to the end, I was like, I don't really feel the need to pick up book 2. The Maid series, I love it. Mafia Romance, my first introduction, and that was a fun time. Blood of Hercules, it was cute. It was fun. Sue me. Into the Fire, not for me. I think dystopian books, if there's no fantasy in it, maybe just aren't my thing. Lights Out, it was cute. It was funny. The voiceover guy for the audiobook, because I did like a read along, I read and listened in audio. The audiobook carries, I think. The voice actor did an amazing job with that. It was so comedic. Defy the Night, it was good, but I was waiting for it to be great. It was like a 3 to 4 star series for me. I think it was fun. Mistborn is gonna go in, it was cute. It would be an I love it if I had more of a desire to pick up book 2, but I just think that I need to wait to be in a mood for it and mood read. Guild, I'm honestly gonna put it in this was cute because I loved book 2 and book 3, but 4 and 5 were disappointing to me and I haven't read book 6 yet. I don't want it to ruin the series for me. Like, I don't know how to feel about it. It would have been an I love it just if it was a trilogy. But books 4 and 5, I just feel like nothing happened. We could have done without them. The Christmas novellas, I'm gonna say were good, but I'm waiting for you to be great because only Ali Hazelwood sort of carried for me. You and Me on Vacation, I love it. Yeah, that feels right. Flawless by Elsie Silver, the Chestnut Spring series, the whole series. I'm actually gonna put it in not to be dramatic, but it changed my life because cowboy romance, yeehaw. Fear the Flames, I'm gonna say it was cute. I had a fun time reading it. Half a Soul, I love it. Most Wonderful Crime of the Year was cute. My December Darling, You Were Good, but I'm waiting for you to be great. The Legacy of God series is obviously in God tier, not to be dramatic, but it changed my life because I have never been so obsessed with a book before. I think only like ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, Zodiac Academy, and Legacy of Gods, and maybe the Flesh of Fire series. They're the only ones that I've been that obsessive with. Like, I don't want to sleep, I don't want to eat. Even having a shower, I'm being 5 minutes away, I'm thinking about the book in my head. I'm going to my Pilates class, I'm thinking about the book. I'm driving there, I'm thinking about the book. Like, that obsessive, I can't stop thinking about it. I love that feeling, that all-consuming. Reign of Shadows and Endings kind of did that too. That's going in not to be dramatic, but it changed my life. I love that book series so much. Serpent and Dove, we're gonna go in You Were Good, but I'm waiting for you to be great because it was just a bit underwhelming. I mean, book 1 I enjoyed, but book 2 I just didn't really care for it. And then The Right Move is gonna go in I love it because Ryan Shea. And that is all of the 2024 books tier ranked. This is all the series and books that I read in 2024. So that is 250 reads that we've just gone and tier ranked. Very, very fun. I wonder if we'll do this again next year and if we'll keep the same tier ranks or if we'll have different ones. I feel like I maybe could have done another one between You Were Good and I'm Waiting for You to be great, and it, you know, or maybe one below that it was okay. Could have separated those two and got a bit more of a distinction, but I'm quite happy. Everything feels good. I don't feel like I need to move anything. I feel like this is a good representation of the books that I loved throughout the year and my book taste. I think you can kind of see where I try to dabble in other books or genres and realize that those types of subgenres or books just aren't my favorite or my preference, and this is what I really loved. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. The next video will be a reading vlog. We'll get to actually read some books together in this new year, and I'll see you then. Bye.